be heartbreak. There will be drama. Tears will be shed. On this episode of On and Off the Field with Derf and Dylan. I don't know why I said that. It was just, you got to go with your gut. Yeah. I felt like that's what I wanted to say, so we said it.
All right.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed it. A little bit of different beginning to your favorite podcast on and off the field. We have a great show lined up, I think.
Yeah, I think we do.
To talk about a lot. So right before we get started, as always, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see all these fun little banners that I put up. Like this one right now that says share, subscribe, follow, and like. Derf can tell you about all the places where you can do that and more.
Yeah. So go ahead and like On and Off the Field on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure to click that subscribe button so you get all the notifications for our latest episodes that drop on YouTube, as well as uncut episodes from our recorded shows and other great content. Head on over to onandoffthefield.com to learn more about the show, as well as where you can find our episodes and charities that we are involved in. And once you listen to the episodes, make sure to head over to iTunes and give us a little rate and review. Tell us how we're doing and what you like or dislike about the show, because we want to make it better for you and we want to make it more enjoyable, because it's all about you, the listener.
Amen.
You can also head over to rtfsportsnetwork.com, where you can catch On and Off the Field on our new live show time on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and our recorded show is now on Fridays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And while you're on the website for RTF Sports Network, check out those blogs. We have a lot of great writers on the network, and there's a lot of great things written there. So check them out and get reading.
Yeah. And we're adding new shows every day.
Oh, yeah.
Not every day, but, a lot of new shows coming. So make sure you're following not only On and Off the Field's Facebook pages and Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you're following RTF Sports Network as well, because then that's where all the news comes out for new shows. So maybe if you see one you specifically like, when the lineup for the day's announced, there you go. You got your guy. So, yeah. So I got to start the show a little different, actually. Well, first off, this is the second time I've forgotten about this almost. Fantasy Football League, it's official. It will be started. The Fantasy Football League for the OOTF family group page. Make sure you're following that. You're in that group, OOTF family. And you have to be part of that to join the Fantasy Football League. It'll be a $20 buy-in. So far, the guys from Strikeout Beer are in.
Nice.
They're in. My mom said she's in, but I don't know if she knows how to play fantasy football, so we'll see how that goes. $20 that goes towards our current charity, which is the Boys and Girls Club of America. And then we don't have a date for the draft yet, but it should be sometime late August, I would assume. I think that's normal time. But we'll hold off on the $20 until we're sure that there's going to be a football season.
Yeah.
But if everyone puts their $20 in and then like halfway through the season's canceled, like I don't know if we can, since it's going to charity, I'll let you decide if you want your money back or not. We'll see how that goes. That's one of those circumstances like so we'll wait and see on that. I can't really ask the charity for your money back. That's the awkward part.
That would be awkward.
Hey, the fantasy football season was canceled, and I need my guys' buy-ins back. Ooh, sorry. Oops. Yeah, so that's a thing. But that's really all we got for our opening stuff. That's just the usual warm-up, the regular shindig that you hear when you tune into this amazing podcast.
Yeah.
I gotta start out with something a little different before we hit the other sports.
All right.
If you're watching on YouTube, this will be a lot better. So you can have some visuals with this. But I went to Wegmans, our local wonderful grocery store, and I was hankering for some desserts. So I went and picked up some ice cream. The wife wanted ice cream. I grabbed some stuff from the bakery because Wegmans has a dope bakery. And I just went down the regular Oreo garbage food aisle.
Yeah.
Something caught my eye, Fred.
What was it?
Something that I've never seen before. Oh. And I think it was only $1.99 for the box.
I was literally just there today too. But I didn't walk down that aisle.
I tell you what I have sitting here right next to me is one of the best things I've ever had from Little Debbie's.
Ooh.
This, for everyone watching on YouTube, this right here is a Boston cream roll.
Oh, that sounds
like a Boston
good.
cream donut, but it's like a Swiss roll, but Boston cream.
Ooh.
Fred.
That sounds good.
This is the best thing I've ever eaten from Little Debbie's right here. And I'll just give you a little taste for everyone at home so you know what it's like here. Oh my God. Oh, just look at that. Oh my God. It's so good. And for those just listening to me munch on something on the radio, I'm telling you, you gotta be on YouTube to watch these things. That's really where it's at.
Yeah.
But since that's out of the way now, we have a lot to get to on this very amazing episode of On Out the Field. So let us jump into other sports. I think we thrive on making that the worst transition ever.
Probably, yeah.
I think that really makes it what it is.
The other sports, it doesn't have to be good.
Right, because we're not good at the other sports, so the transition it should not be good either. Expectations should be lowered right off the bat.
Yes.
I like that. That's fair. What are you drinking? What was that?
This is a little Southern Tier Lakeshore Fog.
Some hazy, juicy IPA.
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff.
We went out to dinner last night for our anniversary, and they had...
happy anniversary. Yeah, I forgot about that. We should say happy anniversary, everybody. Thanks. Say happy anniversary to Derf. Happy anniversary, everyone. There we go.
So I got a Southern Tier new juice on tap.
Ooh.
That was pretty tasty.
I like that stuff.
That's good stuff.
I've had that one before when I was in Jamestown. Bought their variety pack one time that was in there. It's good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a bad beer from Southern Tier.
I don't think so. I have either.
Not one that at least comes to mind.
Right. Now, Voodoo Ranger, I can tell you one that I do not like from them.
I don't like a lot from them in general. Which one don't you like?
I believe it was the Paradise IPA. It's like very aromatic. Oh. And it just tastes like garbage to me. So, I mean, I got through the couple cans I had because, I'm not going to waste beer.
You have to get, you just have to.
Well, I think, maybe it'll change, but nope.
No, just bad through and through. Sometimes beers are just like that. I've had a couple of those kinds of beers, like they give off a floral kind of vibe. Yeah, I don't want flowers in my beer. I just straight up. I don't need that. And I normally don't like IPAs that they throw a lot of fruit into. Like I don't need a peach IPA. Like IPAs have enough flavor on their own, like the hoppiness. Like if you're above 80 IBUs, I don't need freaking pineapple or peach thrown in there. I'm good. And I think all of them I've ever had, just that's not a route my taste buds go in. That's just bad.
I did have speaking of weird flavors, I had a cherry Kolsch on Monday after I got done golfing. The brewery was going for tartness, they nailed the cherry. But the fact that the can looked like a cherry crush soda can, so like the way the crush logo would be, it's kind of like that, but it says Kolsch instead.
Ooh.
So I had one on Monday after I got done golfing with my brother, and on the tart side, you get the cherry, but other than that, there's not like a sweet cherry to it. It was a little on the disappointing side, but it wasn't terrible.
Kolsch's are just not my style in general.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Like the Jenny Kolsch, I'm not a big fan of. I've had another Kolsch, just a random one probably at Romig's. Romig's, the best tavern in Rochester. Go there. I think I've had one there just for fun. Yeah, it just doesn't do nothing for me. It's just not a style that I like. But cherry, I like cherry though. I like tart.
Cherry's a good one.
Just got to get the right mixture going.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a cherry IPA. No, that sounds awful.
No, I like cherry in a lager. It's pretty good.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, you can put all the fruit in the world you want into a lager. Because that's kind of like right now. I'm drinking a lot of Sam Adams. I bought their variety pack, and we just talked about this on Strikeout Beer.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the Port Trocker.
Nice.
I don't know if it's considered a lager, but it's a very good beer that they put lemon lime into.
Mm.
Oh, the best. Just the best. What were we doing?
The other sports.
The other sport. God, we suck at this. Why do people still listen to this? All right.
And we were worried about content tonight.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you're just like, do we have enough to fill an hour? Yeah, we got our. Yeah, we. All we gotta do is sit here and talk. We could probably fill 2 hours before we even get to the other sports. The other sports. All right. The one thing everybody knows about, it's been circulating, I believe, the past 2 days now.
Mm-hmm.
Just like spring sports in college, the Ivy League is leading the way, and they have canceled all fall sports in the Ivy League. That means basically no football is all anyone really cares about. Right. But that means all the other ones too, whichever ones they are, cross country and not baseball. Baseball doesn't play this time of year. No. Do they normally play? They don't play. I don't even know what other fall sports there are. I know there's cross country, like track and stuff, I think. But Soccer. There you go.
Lacrosse.
I love lacrosse. Syracuse lacrosse was doing very good until sports got canceled. They were undefeated, nice. I thought. Yeah. But yeah, so the fall sports are canceled for the Ivy League, and then just to pile on top of it, Stanford, they're getting rid of 11 fall sports in their lineup. They're just getting rid of them. But to be fair, Stanford has a lot. I believe the number was like 36 fall sports Stanford had.
Holy cow.
They're getting rid of 11. That's about 30% of their lineup. If you want to do the math, it's somewhere around 30%. Right. They're just getting rid of them. And from what I understood, just to hit this topic quickly, from what I understood, they've been trying to dump these programs for a while. This was just a good excuse. We can't financially support these 11. Darn it. I guess it's gone. Sorry about that. They said they will honor all scholarships and pay all coaches for those 11 sports. So that's very nice of them. Nice. But those sports will be terminated from Stanford. But back to the main topic, Ivy League schools, no fall sports, just like what they did for the spring. So the question is, will other schools follow? Will other conferences follow? Where is this going to lead us? What rabbit hole are we going down now?
Well, I think we just saw it this afternoon, breaking out the Big Ten, announcing that they're going to be moving to a conference-only model for all fall sports seasons, including football. So this basically allows them for the greatest flexibility for the Big Ten to adjust kind of any of their seasons throughout the season and make any kind of quick decisions in real time based on the current, always evolving medical advice that comes about with this fluid nature of the pandemic. So the Big Ten is actually the first one of the Power 5 conferences to make this change following the news from the Ivy League schools, I believe, yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the rest of the Power 5 conferences change their tune.
And kind of just like how Stanford jumped on very quickly getting rid of those 11 sports. Like they didn't just pick 11 sports out of a hat and they just said, we can't support. Like this was predetermined. They were waiting to get rid of these 11 sports. just like it was the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Big Ten kind of just said, "Hey, we're going to do our own conference. Like we're doing our thing over here in the Big Ten." This seems like already a thought out plan a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That you can't just be like, "Oh, there's not going to be fall sports." Well, we're going to have our fall sports over here. I don't care if the Ivy League's not going to do it. I don't care if this league's not going to do it. We're going to do it. And we're going to keep it in house. It seems like something that was almost already thought about / predetermined,
right?
Which leads us back to this conversation that happens at least once a year. I feel like the termination of the NCAA.
Yeah.
The overall hub of the NCAA controlling everything in college sports being torn apart, and each conference kind of, they figure it out on their own. Hey, we got a commission. They all got their own commissioners. Hey, Big Ten talks over here to the SEC. Hey, you want to do something this year at the SEC? And, we're just going to play our own conferences. They can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to pay the NCAA and have NCAA rules. You can do whatever you want. And I've been for it for a long time. I'm sick of NCAA stuff. It's greedy. They don't let the players make decisions for themselves. They're starting to let them be paid, but there's so much red tape and garbage rules and lawyers and whatnot. It's hard to get around. Just get rid of it. Let the conferences do their thing. Let the players be players. And here we go. And I feel like this is a big step towards that direction to see what it's going to look like this year.
Yeah. It'll definitely be interesting. I know I was reading an article about the Big Ten changing, was that now you're not getting those cross-conference games that are kind of usually the beginning of the year. A couple that I saw that were noticeable was Wisconsin against Notre Dame, but they were playing at Lambeau Field. Then there was a Penn State at Virginia Tech, so that's the Big Ten and the ACC mixing, which we won't have that now. And that kind of brings up the point, we had these Power 5 conferences, but there's one school that just does what they want and plays a little bit of each conference, which is Notre Dame. What is Notre Dame going to do when all 5 of these Power 5 conferences decide, hey, we're playing conference only? Does Notre Dame just not play this year?
I mean, what conference is Notre Dame? I don't. This is where I lack a lot of knowledge. I feel like I should have.
Right.
And that's like what schools are in what conferences. So what conference are they in?
So technically, Notre Dame is independent for football.
Oh, so
they don't belong to a single conference.
Oh, wow.
So that's why Notre Dame actually tends to get a lot of bigger games from these other, because they play all the conferences basically, so they can pick and choose what schools they want to play for the most part. So that's kind of like all these conferences decide, hey, we're just going to play against each other. Well, now what does Notre Dame do?
I feel like and that just an opinion thing, just thinking about that. I honestly didn't know that about Notre Dame, and I feel like I should be ashamed of that, but college football has never really been a strong suit of mine. I just like watching it from time to time. I feel like they could still do that, play what schools they want, but it'll just be based off of what conferences play this year. So if Notre Dame says, yes, we will play football this year, whoever makes those schedules for that team will just be very busy. And all right, the Big Ten's going, SEC's going, something else is going, ACC's going. All right, let me call up those conferences and make a schedule. It'll look very weird, probably different from a normal schedule, but if they decide they want to play, I'm sure they'll just do the same thing. I mean, if Big Ten's the only thing that is the only conference that goes, then just throw them with the Big Ten that year and add them to a couple games.
Well, and that's where you could almost get Notre Dame to not be an independent school anymore when it comes to football. You could actually, because of the situation, you could actually have them being absolved into another conference, which could happen. I mean, they're kind of in the area. The Big Ten is probably the conference they would go to, just based on regionally. But I know the Big 12, they lost a couple schools to the Big Ten, so the Big 12 is really down on teams. But I don't know the exact breakdown of each conference to know how many teams are in each conference, and then kind of how that would pan out if you were looking for like a certain number like on each side. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see what other conferences follow suit with the Big Ten, and then where does that put her, and see what happens with Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's really the big question. Is it's going to go one way or the other with all these conferences, schools, whatever the case may be. Are they going to follow the Ivy League, or are you going to follow the Big Ten? There's two paths. Which way you going? And we're going to be a little chalkboard on the wall. It's going to be cancel and not cancel, and they're going to put little check marks. I got like 5 for cancel, 10 for not cancel, whatever. That's kind of what we're going to be doing as we get closer to the season. And I do believe they've already pushed the season start. Like, I don't think any fall sports will happen before September 1st is what I saw. So no, that'll probably take out NFL preseason. Yeah. I think we'll talk about that a little bit down the road of this episode. I know it's a talking point right now, but this is where we're at, and this is what the virus has really done. And honestly, I don't want to sound like yay virus. That's obviously not what I'm saying, but the virus has really pushed sports into a realm it's never been in, and it's allowing for some change that actually might be good change. Like the NFL might not have preseason. Thank God, get rid of it. No one likes it. The players don't like it. The only people that like it are people trying to make rosters. Well, then do better in practice. I don't know.
Just do better.
Don't want to play that. No one wants to watch it. Nobody wants to play in it. It's garbage. Get rid of it. So it's better. This could get rid of the NCAA and free up these conferences to do a lot more fun things. Baseball is its own craziness. NASCAR, they're racing on Sundays and Wednesdays. If you're trying to grow as a sport and you can keep doing Sundays and Wednesdays, I mean, I know this is a shortened season, that's why they did it. You probably couldn't do that in future years, but hey, if the drivers don't care, they like the extra money, they're getting viewership.
Yeah.
What other sports are on a Wednesday? Let's have some NASCAR on a Wednesday. You don't really fight with anything. The NBA, there's not really much change there, but the virus has really pushed these sports to do something they've never done before, and I think it's interesting to watch these changes unfold.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and moving on to our next topic. I think it was Tuesday, or was it Wednesday? What day was it exactly? And it's not today. LeBron James began the whole super team / players run the league thing roughly 10 years ago. I think it was yesterday. It was the decision. He sits down in front of a camera and says, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. And that caused issues in a lot of people's hearts because one, obviously there's tampering is an issue. And this really, and since it was just the players, Chris Bosh was supposed to go somewhere else. Everyone always says LeBron was almost a Nick or a Net. But he decides to team up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and head down to Miami. And they create one of the first ever super teams on purpose. They didn't create a super team from drafting and stuff like that. They said, let's get these three together and win. Which is what they did. And he left Cleveland, left them in the dust, and people had two different viewpoints. Oh, I got a spider up here.
Oh, nice.
That's gross. I can't kill it. I don't know where it went.
Oh, boy.
It jumped somewhere. It's a little tiny thing. Oh, God. I don't know where it went. I'm scared. Oh, well. People had two different viewpoints on that. They said, what a selfish son of a gun. He left Cleveland in the dirt and won a championship somewhere else. And other people were like, good for you. Forget Cleveland. They didn't have stars. They didn't have any attraction for players to come there. They're a losing team. Why play there when you can go win somewhere else? And it led to this whole, if a player says, I want to leave, they leave. That's unheard of before. They requested a trade, you go somewhere else, go down to Miami. I mean, what was your initial thoughts? I don't know if you remember when it exactly happened, or at least what are your thoughts today on it?
Back then, I thought it was terrible. I didn't like the super team idea. The fact that they were like, "Hey, let's just play together and forget all you people."
Hashtag Golden State.
Pretty much. But yeah, so I wasn't a huge fan of it back then. I think the main thing I didn't like about it was how televised it was. Like, it couldn't have just been like, hey, LeBron said he's going to go to South Beach. Chris Bosh is already down there. Super team created. Nope, we had a however many hours special, plus all of the news media that talked about it over and over and over again for weeks. Because, where's LeBron going to go? Oh, well, we think LeBron is going to go down with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and try to win a championship because, Cleveland's not going to get it done for him. So that was kind of my thought back when it happened. And I know we've seen it a couple times since then. I don't think it's been as, super promoted from some of these teams. Not that I've noticed. Watching the NBA, I do know that the Celtics did it back in probably 2007, 2006, before they won the championship, but that was actually before I started following them, so I don't entirely know then. But ever since then, they've just been building through trades and through the draft and just slow process of free agency, and you don't see it as much anymore in the NBA because you have these super team issues now where people just say, hey, I'm going to go there so I can win a championship because I know such and such is there and we're going to play great. So just not like it used to be.
I think a big attribute to that is social media.
Right.
You have instant access to your buddies. And you see it all the time, even with Jamal Adams right now. Jamal Adams is trying to get it traded, and here you got people from the Cowboys tweeting him up. Hey, man, how you doing? You got people tweeting him up from from the Eagles. Hey, man, how about we go work out together or something? Yeah, it's just technology has evolved so much that you don't need agents to make a phone call. It's just as easy as go up on Twitter and be like, I like these Cowboys. I like the guys over there. Let's go do that. It's not really a super team aspect there, but it attributes. My point is it attributes, makes it easy to create a super team. Like the Rockets tried it, and I think the Rockets are trying it right now. They got Harden and Westbrook.
Yep.
Obviously, Golden State was the big one. They were already primed and winning championships. And hey, let's get Kevin Durant, one of the best scorers ever to live in the game. No big deal. Let's do that. And then they bring in Boogie Cousins, which he didn't really attribute to much since he got hurt. But when they had the lineup there, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant, that doesn't happen on accident, obviously. It's they're doing it on purpose to create super teams. And I think it's an issue, especially in the NBA, because then you got poor teams like the Knicks. Yeah. You're kind of just there. And the Pistons. The Knicks, it's their own fault. That's a destination, but it's their own fault. But then you got who wants to go to Detroit? Right. No one wants to go to Cleveland.
Or even Phoenix.
Phoenix. Devin Booker's career is going to be wasted. Hopefully he gets traded. But there I go saying he should get traded because you feel bad for the guy, but then he goes and joins someone else, and now you have another super team. That's just how it goes.
And that's the unfortunate part, that it falls on these not as good teams. It falls on their management for not doing their job, not building the team correctly when you have talent there. Why are they not being held responsible for building these teams up? Why are you letting this talent walk out the door because your team sucks?
Right.
I don't know.
Back in the day, Cleveland should have looked at LeBron and said, bruh, whatever you want, whoever you want to draft, whoever you want to bring in, let us know. But instead, they let him walk out the door.
Yep.
And here we are with the Lakers and Anthony Davis. A mini super team. Not a great team. They might win it this year. They might win it. We'll see what happens. But that's all we have for other sports. We got plenty of NFL news to talk about next. Yeah. Where are we starting?
Well, I think we should start with a little pause here for a little station identification that you are listening to On and Off the Field with Derf and Dylan on the RTF Sports Network.
Look at this guy. Station identification. We should really put something somewhere. I was able to do it on Tuesday, but I forgot today. It's going to be very hit or miss with that. So the NFL news. So pre-game screening on game days for anyone that will be near the bench. They will be tested before they enter the stadium, and they will be screened. And if they have a temperature of 100.4 degrees or higher, they will not be allowed in the stadium. 100.4 seems like a very high temperature. I mean, I feel like if you had 100-degree temperature, you'd probably already know it and not show up and probably already be at the hospital. 100 degrees is a lot.
That is a lot, because I even know people that might get sick and they have a 99.2.
You're like, oh yeah, you got a cold or something. Yeah,
they have a low grade fever. That's right. That's what they should be watching. Why would you wait till it's 100 degrees? 99, anything over normal should be say, hey, are you feeling okay?
I guess if they've been working out, it's before they even get to the stadium, so they're just showing up at 100.4. I'm pretty sure, if you get over 100, you know it, and you're probably heading to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably that seems like a high number. And my real question was: is this a CDC guideline? Is this a WHO guideline, or is this just like the NFL is like, 100.4 sounds good. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that, but I know it was actually a part of the letter that got sent out yesterday to the NFL teams. So, I'm not sure who came up with the idea, but it'll be interesting to see
who.
How. Oh, puns!
It's a good pun right there. That's very punny. Sorry.
Oh, but in that letter sent out from last night, along with the pregame screening, NFL teams will be forbidden from postgame interactions within 6 feet of each other, including jersey exchanges this season. So while the NFL can't entirely limit how much contact goes on during the game, because obviously it's a contact sport,
because they have to tackle each other.
Well, yeah. But ironically, the NFL and the NFLPA have agreed that players should try to be socially distant before and after the game to keep everyone more healthy and potentially continuing the season.
I get it. And the only reason that I can think of that they would agree to this, including the NFLPA, like the Players Association, or even agreed to this. The only reason that they would do this is because you can't put the cameras on people after a game,
right, and
show them arm in arm, doing a jersey exchange.
Yep.
It's bad PR. You just can't do it, and that is the only. This does not stop any coronavirus stuff from spreading. You're literally tackling each other and touching each other and breathing on each other, spitting on each other the entire game. This does not prevent coronavirus. This is just a PR thing. This is not being socially distant. How long is it going to take before an NFL player goes onto the field? There's two things here. I want to see. I want to see an NFL player pull out a ruler after a game and put it on the ground, and then all right, we're 6 feet apart, and then they take a picture together. I want someone to pull out an actual ruler, like a measuring tape, and do that. And then number two, I want to see I can't wait for the first actual jersey exchange where they stand 6 feet apart and they just toss each other's jerseys. They still do the exchange. There you go. They throw it to them.
Oh,
this does nothing.
I wonder how big that fine will be.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be heavily fined.
Oh, I'm sure. I feel like this is one of those rules where the NFL has to make it, because we're in a point where if you don't make the rule, people won't use common sense to follow something like that.
Right. It's fair.
So
Common sense ain't so common these days.
Right. So I have seen a lot of player reaction to this on Twitter, and it seems like they're kind of laughing at the NFL for this kind of rule, because it does seem a little ridiculous. And it's kind of like what you pointed out before, that you just played for 60 football minutes in a game, and now you're going to say, nope, stay apart. We're done.
Right. And what about all the cameramen? There's cameramen on the sideline, right next to each other. You got the boom guy, you got the guy holding the sound thing, you got two cameras. Yeah. Like, that's how you get shots. That's how you capture shots. Like,
right.
You're not going to be able to have that. So is that going to impact quality when you watch it on television? Or are they just going to allow that and be like, oh, sorry, we can't do anything about it?
I think that goes into the pre-screening process, because it's not just NFL players walking in; it's like any kind of media, any NFL. But they
can still be next to each other on the sidelines. That's what you're saying. Because then why can't they do jersey exchanges?
So they can't do jersey exchanges, but they've also come out and said that coaches and players aren't required to wear face masks on the sidelines. But I'm thinking, I haven't looked to see if this is different for like operational people, like for television and whatnot. Like, they could be required to wear a face mask the entire game, because they're an operation along with the game. So like, they're closer together. You have the spacing issue. Like, you can't be 6 feet apart to get good sound quality or good video quality. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how stadiums operate there when it comes to that kind of that NFL game day operation, behind the scenes stuff, to see what happens. And it'll be interesting to see what the stadiums do though too, because they came out and said you need to space out your visitor locker room now. Yeah. And the lockers either have to be 6 feet apart, or they need to put plexiglass in between the lockers if they can't space them out, because it's kind of common known that visitor locker rooms are smaller than the home team locker rooms. It's kind of a mental thing. Like, you don't want them to be comfortable when they come to play against you. You want them to feel uneasy and in a tight space. So
if you want to make them feel uneasy, don't put up the plexiglass. Make them sneeze on each other. Make them really fear even being next to each other. I don't know. It all just seems like garbage. I understand it. I know they have to do it. But as soon as you touch the football field, you start tackling each other. Every precaution you just took doesn't matter. That's just really the end state there. I mean, at least for players and coaches. But yeah, I'm really interested about those operations. And I can't wait to see what that looks like on a field if they do space them out, or they just say we can't do anything about it. But
yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Like, oh, sorry.
Oh, I was saying it'll be interesting to see how, like, when the camera crews pan out to see what you can see, or just even like newspaper photos or anything, photos on the interwebs. It'll be interesting to see there.
Yeah. Well, on to some player news. The breaking news from, I believe it was last night, 49ers running back Raheem Mostert has requested a trade because his contract talks are just not where he wants them to be. He just wants to get a trade because he wants to be paid more. You're not going to get paid more in this system. They have like 5 running backs. They did get rid of Matt Breida, but so you're going to be featured more. And maybe that was part of his contract talks. Hey, I'm going to have to run some more because Breida's gone. You got to pay up a little bit. And they just said, nah. We like how much you're getting paid. It's all right. I think it's a bad move from the 49ers. I don't know how much Mostert is asking for. Hopefully it's not like amazing money, because I believe he did run for he had 10 touchdowns and maybe somewhere like 750 yards, maybe 800 if I'm not mistaken. I probably am mistaken. But he had a good season. A breakout story after bouncing around a lot, and finally like found a home, and it was a good feel story. Why don't you just pay him an extra like $2-3 more million? You don't have Emmanuel Sanders anymore. You don't have to pay DeForest Buckner.
Mm-hmm.
You really can't just toss him in a bone just to keep him there and keep that running back core together. Well, it's not really a core anymore, but they have Jeff Wilson. Who do they got left? They have Jeff Wilson, Tevin Coleman, and that other guy that came over from the Vikings.
Jerick McKinnon.
And Jerick McKinnon. It's a good lineup there, but Mostert was the speed guy.
Right.
I know Tevin has a little bit of speed. Jeff Wilson has a lot of speed. He was great, especially pass catching. He was a great story as well. But Mostert had that edge speed. And that's where a lot of his yards and touchdowns came from, especially when they tore apart the Packers in the NFC Championship game. I don't know. The 49ers, they've already made one mistake, letting go Emmanuel Sanders. This would just be another mistake on their part, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that they don't want to. I mean, I'd be curious to see what Mostert, like you said, see what he's asking for. Like, why have their contract talks been so terrible that he's now trying to get out of the 49ers organization? And I did read that he came into the organization on a special teams contract, and he was actually one of the highest paid special teams players. So he had a different role this past year, playing more on the offense, and he produced a lot more, helping them get to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I'd be asking for a little bit more money too. Like, hey, I'm not doing what you brought me in for anymore because now I'm more of a key factor on the offense. They should probably just say, hey, we'll throw you a couple more million and keep you here because we know we got something good. And Mostert said that he kind of wants to stay with the 49ers, but it'll be interesting to see if they can actually keep him and pay him a little bit more if the 49ers are just like, nope, see you later. We'll ship you off for a draft pick and move on.
I wonder if they could bundle him into a trade for Jamal Adams.
Ooh.
You got a nice little Le'Veon Bell, Raheem Mostert action over there on the offense for the Jets.
Running backs to the AFC East.
Sorry about that. That's a terrible idea. Don't do that. Oh my goodness! Don't even think about it.
I'm really surprised that Jamal Adams talks hasn't kind of stayed active. Yeah. It kind of was like that week or two, and then we haven't heard anything since then, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think the talks are still preliminary. There hasn't been like you said, there hasn't been any breaking news like the Cowboys finally made an offer and like this is kind of what they're in the wheelhouse. It's all there's just because I saw a notification today that said the Seahawks began preliminary talks with the Jets for Jamal Adams. Like that just means that, hey, what are you looking for? We might be able to give you this, and it's just speculation. There's nothing you can really go off of that for news. So. Sooner or later, Mostert will be moved.
Yeah.
And so will Jamal Adams. But someone who's already been moved?
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
Oh, yeah.
And it is official. Cam Newton will wear number 1. They should give him an S. Can they just do it? Like, let's be the first guy ever to not have to wear a number. Let's give him the letter S.
Alphabetical jersey instead of a numerical jersey number.
Yeah, let's give him S for because he used to do the Superman thing. Just give him S. Why not? Who cares? Does it really matter? Just come on, that'd be cool. That would be really
kind of cool. It'd be really interesting though to see what they do with the mascot because I'm pretty sure the mascot was number 1.
That is true.
So. New England, what are we going to do here? Like, you can't have 2 number 1s on the field.
That's why you got to give Cam the S.
Yeah.
Just give him the S. Or maybe they'll give the S to the mascot. That's only if Cam Newton starts. You can't really have a Cam Newton-centered kind of thing when Jared Stidham is starting. That's kind of a kick to the nuts to Stidham.
I just need a 1 for Cam Newton and a 1A for the mascot.
Ooh, 1A. I like that. Yeah. Let's do that. I kind of like that. That's fun.
All right.
I'm on board for that. Let's do it. I'll get the letter typed up. You can pre-read it, and then we'll send it off to the New England Patriots.
Okay.
Sound like a plan?
Yeah, we'll just social media blast him.
Oh, that's right. We can do that. We don't have to send a letter. That's even better. So, famous Jew, Julian Edelman, has invited Deshaun Jackson to the Holocaust Museum in D.C. Julian Edelman has really taken a stance of, acceptance. He doesn't. Deshaun Jackson obviously has a struggling understanding of the Jewish community. So let me educate him. I'll go to the museum with you. We'll learn. Mm-hmm. We'll just talk, and it'll be a great time. And hopefully, kind of like what they did with Drew Brees, he took a stance and they educated him, and Drew Brees kind of changed his tune. Maybe the same thing happens with Deshaun Jackson. In exchange, Julian Edelman also said that he would go to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in D.C. so Deshaun Jackson can kind of, return the favor there. They can both be educated about each other's cultures. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff that you just look at and you go, wow, that's next level.
Yeah.
That's what a great, like using your platform to say, hey, we're not here to hate. We're here. Okay, I see you. Your stance on this is wrong, and I think you might know that to some degree. How about we just hang out and talk? And there was no bashing. There was no what is wrong with yous.
Right.
It was, hey, let's talk. Let's go to the museum, and we'll learn, and it'll be a great time, and then everyone will get along. That's what we need to do in America. It was just what a great thing that Julian came up with.
Yeah, I think it's a smart way to approach it, and I think we saw that with what happened with Breeze when he made his stance and then changed his tune the next couple days. But I think that's kind of like we're getting to the point. Like, you can't just bite each other's heads off if you don't agree. Like, someone's got to be like, hey, let's meet in the middle. I'll try to understand where you're coming from. I'm going to tell you where I'm coming from and try to hopefully see that you understand why something's wrong.
And for those who don't know, I guess just in case you haven't heard, Deshaun Jackson posted a page of a book he was reading where he highlighted some things that were said by Hitler, which are now proved that he didn't actually say that stuff. I don't know where that quote would have been used. I don't know what book he was reading. But regardless, he posted a Hitler quote, and it was really bad. I'm talking about how Jews want to blackmail America and take over America, and the blacks wouldn't let it happen if they knew who they really were, or something crazy.
Right.
But yeah, Julian Edelman, hats off to Julian Edelman. That's really great. But the other point I just want to bring up real quick I don't want to get terribly political, but where was the outrage? People, even players in the NFL, a lot of people, they bit Drew Brees' head off when he said, I think you should stand for the national anthem. He said it respectfully. He's like, I think you should stand. And people wanted to kill him. Offensive linemen are like, oh, we're not going to block for you. It was absolute insanity. Right. And then Deshaun Jackson comes out, posts this, and it was like, yeah, that's pretty messed up, but no one was mad. So is it really just people only care about like black versus white, or is it everything just fake? Is everything just like he said that, so all of the people that think you shouldn't kneel are defending him, and the people that want to kneel are like, oh, you're a terrible person. It's this battle that we've been having, and people just don't care about like the Jewish community when they get bashed, like when people post Hitler quotes. I mean, like, why is there such a difference? There is no difference there. There shouldn't be.
Right. Yeah, there shouldn't be. Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, I don't know. It's odd that you wouldn't get the same kind of news outlet that you would between the two.
Yeah, I just don't think people care as much. People care about this kneeling issue a lot. But if he posts a Hitler quote, well, that's pretty messed up. But I mean, who cares? And I'm sure that's part of I hope Julian Edelman comes back out and readdresses that, because he's a great spokesman for the Jewish community, being in the NFL. I mean, that's really amazing. So hopefully I actually have a couple of I forgot real quick, because we got one little main segment to bring up before the end of the show. A couple of players came out and said some things. Mitchell Schwartz Also, he's an offensive lineman for the Chiefs, also a Jewish NFL player. He says, my hope is we can use this moment to shed light on and bring awareness to the hate and oppression the Jewish community still faces while standing strong with the Black Lives Matter movement. We can only have change if we denounce racism and bias in all of its forms. Chris Long, another post from him. I didn't see and I haven't seen nearly enough people saying, yeah, man, this was a misstep. Certainly anti-Semitism is not the main event in this country, but we can walk and chew gum here. I am just not willing to accept anybody saying stick to the task at hand and we can't address people making anti-Semitic comments, which is kind of what I was saying. Like, why can't you just, we can be mad about racists in general, not just people racist against blacks. Like, we can do the Jew thing too. And then Julian Edelman, obviously, I'm proud of my Jewish heritage. And for me, it is not just about religion. It's about community and culture as well. Anti-Semitism is one of the oldest forms of hatred. It is rooted in ignorance and fear. So I thought I would just say those quotes real quick because they were good quotes. So I want to make sure we brought them up. I like Chris Long's the most because that was the same kind of point that I just brought up there with we can walk and chew gum at the same time here. we can be mad about racists against the black community and the Jewish community. It's possible. We can do that. It's a thing. Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap up the show with a main segment here, something that we don't do nearly enough, but this is hopefully this is really the point of the show. We're going to do an off the field segment. Yeah. So my off the field hero here is Spurs guard Patty Mills, who is from Australia. He's donating all of his money because he's going to play in Orlando. He's going to make $1,017,818.54 for playing in Orlando, and he's going to be donating all of that money to Black Lives Matter Australia, Black Deaths in Custody, and a new recent campaign called We Got You, dedicated to ending racism in sports in Australia. His quote, I'm playing in Orlando because I don't want to leave money on the table that could be going directly to the black communities. Take that and shove it down your throat, Kyrie Irving. That's why we're playing in Orlando.
Yes.
Like, Patty Mills.
Yeah.
You go, man. And that's what we need. That's the stance and the change and the effort that people need to put into these things. And nobody knows who Patty Mills is. He's only making $1 million. There's some guys that are going to go down there and make like $5 million.
Yeah.
So great for him, making an impact in his country. That's just, it's amazing. And you can say a bunch about Patty Mills and how Kyrie Irving might have handled it wrong, but I know you're off the field hero. Who do you got?
I have Los Angeles Lakers center Dwight Howard. So he announced on Monday that he will join the Lakers in Orlando for the NBA restart. There was some question about whether or not he would join them, and he was on national media and said that he felt he had an obligation to his teammates that he should go there, and because the Lakers have a chance to win the title, that he should probably go there. So Dwight Howard made the decision, and now he is deciding to donate the remainder of his salary, which is approximately $700,000, to the Breathe Again campaign, which is a campaign that he is relaunching after starting it initially through his D12 Foundation in 2015. So the website's currently out of service. I believe they're probably working on getting it back up. But on the website initially, Howard wrote, "My sadness has grown deeper as I watch people firmly plant themselves on one side or the other, usually based on race. We need a new perspective, a new life. We need to breathe again. Oxygen represents life. We need to fill our bodies with new life. It is time for us to look past color, zip codes, the problems, and look toward the causes and solutions." So
yeah, that's a great quote.
I think it's a great quote. that is kind of their, I don't know, their mission statement almost.
Yeah.
For the campaign and yeah, I really hope that we see kind of a lot of things coming out of this NBA restart, similar to Dwight Howard and similar to Patty Mills, because this is the way you're gonna get change.
Right.
Athletes get paid
push
a lot.
for it.
You need athletes who have an influence on social media, in the public in general, and make a change because masses will follow suit.
And I know it's easy to say it's a popularity thing for some people. Hey, I got to donate some money, and people look at that. You know, when coronavirus first hit, athletes were donating paychecks and salaries to the workers and to families that were in need. And there's a lot of great things, and it did get a lot of coverage. I didn't know about the Dwight Howard one. I didn't see that. I saw about Patty Mills real quick. I feel like both of them aren't given a big enough platform. I watched Golick and Wingo this morning, and I watched Pat McAfee show this morning, and neither one of them brought up the fact that they're doing this. And I feel like that's sad. You know, there's a lot to talk about. I know there's a lot of news, a lot of things you can talk about, and that's why we made this an effort on our show to try and bring these things up, because I feel like this should be one of the first things on everyone's docket. You write it down, you see athletes making these kinds of efforts. It should be put right in the front for everyone to see. So hats off to both of them and everyone else. You know, let's try and follow in their shoes, and also let's look towards the causes and solutions here. That's the next step. Yeah. Let's stop being angry and just start figuring out the next step.
Absolutely.
So, that is the show. That is On and Off the Field. Another successful episode here. Another amazing, July 9th, 2020.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun here tonight, Derf.
Yeah, definitely. So, real quick, anyone watching on YouTube, you're probably noticing that the bill sign's still not behind me.
Oh, sadness.
So, nothing broke. Everything's fine with the sign still. I went to restring it and realized the lights don't match up on all the holes correctly. So I currently have one string of lights completely unbraided so that I have more flexibility in how I can position them. I did make sure all the lights work. I actually put them in the holes where they should be going and plugged it in. It looks amazing. So hopefully this weekend I'll be able to finish that up, get everything unbraided, get everything placed where it needs to be, stapled in.
You ready for the live show?
Bada bing, bada boom, ready for the live show.
Yes.
And yeah.
So make sure you tune in Tuesday, 7 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, our Facebook pages, and the RTF Sports Network Facebook page for our live show, so you can see the sign in its completed glory.
Yeah, definitely.
So, amazing. Thank you for the update. And as always,
all hail the Jockstrap King.